Welcome to AquarianRadio.com.
AquarianRadio.com.
Aloha, this is Enki. You know me as Aquarius, and this is our age, the Sata Yuga. Time to celebrate with us. We have programs on all chakra tantra, love styles and relationship choices, counseling strategies and techniques that you can use at home. We have extraterrestrial radio where we deal with alienology, paranormal people, and we have an experiencers network. We have a section called Ancient Aliens, and the programs therein are Enki Speaks, Nimma, the Mother of Humanity, has her program, and we revise ancient anthropology. And most important of all, we have peace paradigms, because this is the age of peace, harmony and understanding, sympathy and love abound. No more falsehoods or derisions, mystic crystal dreams and visions.
This is Enki.
It is I who 300,000 years ago created your race, and 200,000 years ago, it was a lot of fun, made it even better with some of the pretty girls. And it is I who saved you from the flood, and it is I and my beloved Nimma and my son Ningashiga Thoth who are here to help you overcome my runaway son Marduk or Allah, my brother Enlil or Yahweh, and free yourself from all the supposed gods and recognize your own great potential. You have much to teach us, and we, Anunnaki, those of us from Nibiru, welcome full partnership.
And here are your hosts, Janet and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Aloha! Welcome to Aquarian Radio. Today's show is Enki Speaks. The title of today's show is Galzu from Q, Saved Earthlings from the Deluge. Today is January 15th, 2013. This episode is from the Lost Book of Enki, episode 10 and tablet 10. And I'm your host, Janet Kier Lesson, and my co-host is Dr. Sasha, also known as Dr. Alex Sasha Lesson. Bear with me, please. I'm recovering from the flu, so sometimes my voice goes in and out, but we'll do the best we can. So I'm going to give the mic to Dr. Lesson, and he's going to tell us today more about today's show.
Yeah, let me put the show in the context of the expedition 450,000 and 400,000 years ago of great big tall human beings from the planet Nibiru who set up this network of gold mining using hybrids that they bred with their genes, which they engineered onto the genes of Homo erectus, and they were extracting the gold from south of Africa and sending it in rocket ships for transshipment based on Mars and then onto their planet Nibiru, which comes through the inner solar system here every 3,600 years, or it did then. It's slowed down since then. But in any case, they were there. They manufactured the gold into white powder of monoatomic gold, which floats up and protects their environment from going away. They're fine when they're close to their primary star. It's one of the binary pair of Earth called Nemesis, but then there's long distances in space before they get to the inner system of Solaris, our sun. So anyway, they had lots of these millions by now of the slave race. That's us, and we saw last time that Enki, their chief scientist, was really into making it with all the really beautiful women, and he felt he was enhancing their genetics by giving them more and more of his genes, and then he would get the daughter of the beautiful woman and the daughter of that one. But the one that really was standing out for him in this period that we're looking at today was Noah, whose name was Ziasutra in the Sumerian, and he and his sister Nimrod just gave everything to educating this wonderful, wonderful child that he had with his workmaster's wife, Batanash. And so this Noah is really important. Well, one of the things you're going to see today is that things started getting really bad on Earth. Earth entered an ice age. People were starving, and the workers stopped working so much for their overlords and were out in the fields foraging for themselves. The commander, a guy named Enlil, or Yahweh, ordered the workers to work more and eat less food, and this guy Enlil basically hated our race, the hybrids that we are. He felt he could see there was millions of them, that they were ultimately a threat to him and his rule of Nibiru when his father Anu came down off the throne in Nibiru. And he also didn't like the humans because they had so much of Enki's genes in them. And so he tried to starve them out, but Enki secretly showed them how to do deep sea fishing, showed them how to make ponds, and Nimrod taught them how to medicate themselves, which is stuff they didn't know. Oh, Janet wants to say something.
Oh, I just wanted to. Your arm was in the way of the control panel, and I couldn't see what was going on. Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to give you the background of today's story. So Enlil called together this big meeting of everybody. First, he asked back at Nibiru. He wired and communicated, and they communicated back saying, "Look," the king said, "we got enough gold. Prepare to evacuate, get the hell out of there. Don't let Marduk and his Earthling wife come. And tell the astronauts that have families with the Earthlings that they better head for the high ground. And all those who want to be evacuated can be evacuated, along with all our most important scientific stuff." And so Anu started sending rocket ships to take everybody back. And that's where today's episode will begin, because we're going to see that one of these rocket ships that was being sent down to the Middle East, to Mesopotamia, to get everybody, had on board a very interesting person. And this is the mysterious imposter known as Galzu. Galzu represented himself as the plenipotentiary of Nibiru's King Anu. And it was a guy who had all the powers of the king. And Galzu, as we'll see in today's show, lied. He lied so that Enki and Enlil and Ninna and their kids would stay on Earth, because we'll see this Galzu had some purposes of his own, and he wasn't about to let the humans all die, the Earthling humans all die.
So that's like Galzu is like the Q. The Q meaning, if any of you out there have listened to Star Trek, the Q were an advanced race that could just basically change their form from looking like human to anything they wanted to look like. So they were the ultimate shapeshifters. They could travel through time and space without using any kind of physical means, like a spaceship. And so they were these magical beings which we envision are from like the highest level of heaven. They might be the true angels, because the Anunnaki believed in a higher power, something higher than themselves. So they believed in the creator of all. But here was this being, the Galzu, who was pretending he was an Anunnaki.
He came in a rocket ship. He didn't just pop in.
Right. So he was traveling on their craft with them and came in a rocket ship, and he was an imposter, so to speak, is what Sasha said.
Yeah, and so we'll see in some detail that when the humans were going to all be drowned, that Galzu gave Enki a computer program to put in Noah's computer, which told him how to make a submersible that Enki's son Ninagal would drive to Mount Ararat in 120 days after the deluge. And we'll talk about what happened. You remember from last time, we start getting signals that every time Nibiru came through the inner solar system, there was more earthquakes, more volcanoes, and the ice was slipping off of the Antarctic continent into the sea, and it was getting critical. One of Enki's, Enlil's, had a granddaughter, Erishkigal, ran the weather station down at, I think it's Cape Arguelles at the very end of South Africa, and she was joined by her husband, Nergal, one of the sons of Enki, who was master of South Africa. They were saying, with a lot of alarm, the ice sheet is going to slip into the sea, and it's going to make huge waves, and we'll see everybody's reaction to this in detail. But let's suffice it to say at this point that Galzu is going to give Enki the means to help Noah, Ziasutra, and his people survive, and we will let you know what happens after that. Here comes Janet.
So I wanted to add one more little tidbit. So Noah, when we get to Gilgamesh's story, which is probably going to be in a few weeks, it's going to take us a while to get to that, we find out Noah, who comes into this story here 13,000 years ago, is still alive, and he is a human hybrid, and we are all human hybrids. So somehow the real story behind this story is that our human DNA can be enhanced, or there is something that can give us long lives as well as, the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki, from what we know, have at least, some of them 450,000 year life expectancy, because Enki came here, and Enlil and all the others 450,000 years ago, and they were full-on adults, so they could have been alive, we don't know how many years, they could have been alive 1,000,000 years. We have no idea what the life expectancy of the Anunnaki is, and we have their same genetic makeup and their same life expectancy. So this is critical, because when we get to the modern times, we are being murdered.
Well, you can also see, it may just be that some scientists have suggested there's a molecular block that had been placed within our genome, that when the time was right and we were ready to join the Federation, that is to give up on war and conquest and hierarchy and nukes in space, that this wall, this molecular block would be lifted, and you can certainly see things like that are starting to happen in our very special children.
All right, so each 3,600 years, the planet Nibiru neared our sun. The nearing triggered volcanoes on Nibiru, launched huge sun flares. Nibiru's passing disturbed ground and air on Mars and Earth. 16,000 years ago, as the Earth increasingly suffered an ice age, Enlil, commander of the gold mining expedition on Earth from the planet Nibiru, summoned his nephew, Prince Nergal, overlord of South Africa, who had married his granddaughter, Erishkigal. Nergal showed the commander data and calculations from the observatory at the south tip of Africa. The Antarctic ice sheet was sliding toward the ocean. Next time Nibiru neared Earth, Nergal reported, the ice sheet would slip into the sea and make huge waves. Surges, he said, would reverberate and inundate all Earth except the Great Peaks.
Now this fit in well with Enlil's plans to kill off Enki's hybrid slave race, us Earthlings. The expedition had already, as we've seen, since its operations began some 400,000 years ago, sent Nibiru enough gold for floating white gold powder to save Nibiruan atmosphere. Now, the Nibiruans could return home, and Enlil thought, let the sea drown the Earthlings. King Anu and the council on Nibiru beamed Earth. For evacuating Earth and Lamu, that's Mars, prepare. In the Abzu, that's Africa,